What's up, guys? Football is a violent and physical sport, no doubt about it. Injuries and hits are going to happen. It's simply a part of the game. But there are instances where players go too far. Rather than simply make a root tackle or avoid doing something stupid altogether, these players can't help themselves and they seemingly try to hurt the opponent. It sounds hard to believe, but it really has happened. We even have video evidence of it to present before you. I'm Biondo, and today we present 10 NFL players who were caught red-handed trying to injure an opponent. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications because we post videos every single day. Every day's a new video, so you should definitely subscribe. Number 10, Kiko Alonso's cheap shot on Joe Flacco. We understand why some football fans simply hate the rules the NFL has implemented about protecting quarterbacks. But when you see some of the hits these guys take, it's easier to understand why the NFL is cracking down on QB hits. Take this Miami Dolphins and Baltimore Ravens 2017 game, for example. Quarterback Joe Flacco ran the ball and slid down, essentially giving himself up. But Kiko Alonso couldn't help himself, and he absolutely clobbered Flacco in one of the most disgusting acts you'll see a football player commit. Somehow, Alonso avoided suspension and was fined a mere $9,115. So much for protecting your quarterback, right, NFL? Number 9, Charles Martin's body slam on Jim McMahon. The Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears renewed their rivalry in a 1986 contest, but this game was remembered for all the wrong reasons. At one point in the game, Bears quarterback Jim McMahon threw an interception seconds after Green Bay defensive end Charles Martin took McMahon and body slammed him dangerously into the ground. McMahon fell shoulder first into the hard frozen turf at Soldier Field. That forced him to miss the rest of the season, and the Bears failed to repeat as Super Bowl champions. Martin received a 2-game suspension for the incident. Just 2 games, that's it. The body slam happened seconds after McMahon threw the ball, so it's quite obvious this was an intent to injure. Number 8, JuJu SmithSchuster levels Vontaze Burfict. Now, Cincinnati Bengals linebacker Vontaze Burfict is undoubtedly the dirtiest and most reckless player in the NFL right now. But that doesn't mean you cheer for injuries, nor do you try to hurt somebody. Just don't tell that to Steelers wide receiver JuJu SmithSchuster. In a heated 2017 game between the AFC rivals, JuJu wanted to seemingly settle the score with Burfict. Rather than try to dish out a routine block, Smith-Schuster delivered an ugly and hard hit on the Bengals linebacker, knocking the wind out of him in the process. Smith-Schuster's hit concussed Burfict, and he received a 1-game suspension. It's not cool, man. Number 7, Rob Gronkowski's vicious elbow on Tre'Davious White. New England Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski is usually not a dirty player at all, but his temper got the better of him in a 2017 road game against the Buffalo Bills. Tom Brady was intercepted by Bills rookie cornerback Tre'Davious White, and angry Gronkowski dove right in and delivered a vicious cheap shot to his head. White suffered a concussion and Gronkowski received a 1-game suspension. He did own up to his mistake after the game and admitted he was simply frustrated with being held and interfered with during the contest. Thankfully, White would be just fine and returned to help Buffalo make the playoffs, while Gronk learned his lesson and became a good boy after this incident. Number 6, Vontaze Burfict's headshot on Antonio Brown. Perhaps when JuJu SmithSchuster delivered that aforementioned ruthless block on Vontaze Burfict, it was to average what he did to Antonio Brown 2 seasons earlier. The Bengals hosted the Steelers in the 2015 AFC wildcard round. Cincinnati was looking to win its first playoff game since 1990. What could go wrong? In short, classic Vontaze Burfict, classic Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals were up by 1 point in the waning seconds. Ben Roethlisberger's pass to Antonio Brown fell incomplete, and rather than stay disciplined and give his team a chance to win a playoff game, Burfict just couldn't control himself. So he gets flagged for an illegal hit. The Steelers kick a short field goal to win the game. Brown wasn't able to play in Pittsburgh's next game, however, and Burfict was hit with a 3-game suspension. It's just one of the many suspensions he's received throughout his controversial career. Dude, take a chill pill. Number 5, Danny Trevathan headhunts Davante Adams. Sometimes it's hard for players to avoid a collision, and hits to the head are going to happen. They're sometimes unavoidable or accidental. But in the case of Danny Trevathan, this was clearly an intent to injure. We're talking about a 2017 game between the Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers, which was solely remembered for Trevathan's disturbing hit. Aaron Rodgers found Davante Adams open in the middle of the field for a short gain. Just as he was being tackled by defenders, Trevathan came out of nowhere and delivered an extremely dirty headshot to a defenseless Adams. Trevathan received a 1-game suspension for the hit, somehow convincing the NFL to reduce their original 2-game ban. Adams was was hospitalized, but he returned the next week and helped the Packers win a thriller over the Dallas Cowboys. Number 4, Turkey Jones suplexes Terry Bradshaw. It's really been the last 10 to 15 years where NFL players have seemingly taken pleasure in trying to injure their opponents, but one of the ugliest incidents in NFL history happened way back in 1976. Cleveland Browns defensive end Joe Turkey Jones got to Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw and wrapped him up, forcing officials to whistle the play dead. Things should have ended there, but Jones wasn't satisfied enough with the sack, so he went 5 steps too far and delivered a dangerous suplex on Bradshaw. Jones was penalized and fined $3,000, while Bradshaw suffered a concussion. There's truly no doubting Jones had intent to injure. Simply disgraceful. Number 3, DeShazer Everett drills defenseless Darren Sproles. One clear piece of evidence that a player has the intent to injure: when he'd rather smoke a defenseless player and take a penalty than simply wrap him up for a routine tackle. Such was the case for Washington Redskins safety DeShazer Everett, who decided to crash into Philadelphia Eagles return man Darren Sproles while he fielded a punt return. Everett was fined $48,000 for his actions in the game, and he somehow avoided suspension. Sproles thankfully avoided serious injury and would be just fine, despite being absolutely whacked by Everett. Number 2, Albert Haynesworth stomps on Andre Garrod. Albert Haynesworth was among the most dominant defensive players in the NFL during his days with the Tennessee Titans. Of course, most simply remember the guy as a world-class hothead. Oh, and he was also the biggest free agent bust in NFL history. Remember when they gave him that 7-year contract worth $100 million? Haynesworth simply did many things to make himself unlikable. He clashed with coaches and earned a reputation for being incredibly lazy and hard to deal with. But the low point of his career was in a 2006 game against the Dallas Cowboys. Haynesworth stomped on the head of Cowboys center Andre Garrod, who was without his helmet at the time. Garrod would thankfully avoid serious injury, though it was reported he did suffer from blurred vision for some time. Haynesworth apologized, but he was hit with a 5-game suspension. A permanent ban from the NFL would have done too, but whatever. Number 1, New Orleans Saints Bountygate hit on Kurt Warner. In the 2012 offseason, the NFL found out that the New Orleans Saints were illegally giving their players bonuses for injuring the opponents. This included leaked audio tapes of the defensive coordinator Greg Williams instructing his players to purposely injure opponents. It was simple: hurt players, get paid. It was just like a bounty, hence the name Bountygate. There were a handful of hits during this whole scandal that paint a clear picture of Saints players trying to injure opponents. And perhaps it was never more obvious than when Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kurt Warner was knocked out of their 2009 NFC Divisional Round playoff game following a vicious hit. Warner himself said he didn't think it was a dirty hit, but it forced him out and he would retire after the season. And yes, the investigation suggested that the Saints were trying to injure Warner on purpose. Williams, other coaches, front office personnel, and players got suspended as well. And on top of all that, they had to forfeit 2 draft picks and $500,000. Should have been $1 million. Being paid to injured players is as dirty, disgusting, and sickening as it gets. That's why it tops our list. Just downright disgusting. In what other instances was an NFL player caught trying to injure an opponent? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, make sure to follow myself and Total Pro Sports on social media. We post great content all the time. Good content, funny content. If you don't follow us, go check out our pages. Just take a look. Just be like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Oh, well, I like that too. And if you like it, follow us. If you don't follow us. It's okay. We still appreciate you. Another thing we appreciate: likes. If you like this video, give it a like. It takes 1 click. That's all. Just a click. Little click that thing. I don't know what that is. Click. Just click it. Do it. If this is your first time around TPS, make sure to subscribe because we post videos every single day. Every day is a new video, so why would you not subscribe? It's a good idea. Of course, thanks so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo, and I'll see you later.
My knee.